Hello, sports fans, and welcome to Scott Sports 101 NFL Football Divisional Playoffs Recap and National Championship Game Recap. I'm sorry I wasn't available yesterday because I had to work and I had a commitment going on, and it just really took a lot out of me. But we'll recap the AFC Divisional Playoff games from this weekend, and we'll recap the National Championship game, and we'll talk about some breaking news, which is not so much breaking news, which is the Browns head coach. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 NFL Football Trivia question. This team in 1983 made the playoffs for the first time in their franchise history. Kurt Warner rushed for over 200 yards in a game, and quarterback Dave Krieg had 400 yards passing. Also, which team is this? I will have the answer later on the podcast. Breaking news out of not breaking news from yesterday out of Berea. The Browns have hired a head coach. We now have one, and they've hired Minnesota Vikings offensive coordinator Kevin Stefanski as our new head coach. Stefanski was the runner-up a year ago for the head coaching job, but they hired Freddie Kitchens, who was just fired a couple of weeks ago after a disappointing, dramatic-filled 6-10 season. Stefanski is the Browns' 18th head coach in the team history. And this is something that Lakewood, Ohio, there's been mixed feelings and reactions to the Browns hiring Stefanski as their new head coach, both on social media and amongst local bargoers. However, most of the people the news media spoke with say they are remaining cautiously optimistic. I am known from all this, said Robert Kilbort. He was one of the bargoers they talked to. The Cleveland Browns have chosen their 18th full-time head coach, as I just mentioned, in franchise history, and 12th since 1999. Minnesota Vikings offensive coordinator Kevin Stefanski is replacing recently fired Freddie Kitchens, as I just mentioned. And as local Browns fans gathered at Mary Bar in Lakewood, Arts Bar in Lakewood, to watch the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, which their minds were on what this new coach could mean for a team that didn't make it that far this season. I was happy with the hire for the most part, but I really don't think they will be successful as long as Jimmy Haslam still owns the team, said Zachary Schwab. Now, I feel Haslam has got to go at some point because they've had 17 coaches and they've gone through so many quarterbacks, and we have not had a winning team. And this year we had such high hopes for this team, and this team just did not play up to those high hopes and did not make the playoffs. And next year they have to make the playoffs, and they better do it because with the draft coming here in 2021. And so I just feel that this coach is going to really have to prove that he's worthy of being as coach because being the head coach because they've signed him to a 5 to 10 year contract. Now, while he has been with the Vikings since 2006, 37-year-old Stefanski has never been a head coach. Since he's the new guy, he has a lot to get used to really quick, said Mraz. And several other candidates met with owner Jimmy Haslam for the job last week. One of them being Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels, who grew up in Northeast Ohio. I was hoping that they would get Josh McDaniels because he's from John Carroll University, said Kilbort. Honestly, I was excited it was him, Stefanski, and not McDaniels. I trust DePosta, and I think it was his guy, said Zachary Schwab. Stefanski had been interviewed for the job twice last year. Under rumors, he was the preferred choice of Chief Strategy Officer Paul DePastia. Overall, fans say they hope for stability, and that's what we're all hoping for. They need to have stability with this team, and they've got to really get this team to start banging through walls and playing the way that they should play. Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., and all of them. Stefanski will have to earn the respect of the Browns players and fans, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. He's really going to have to earn our respect. Stefanski will be introduced during a news conference tomorrow, which is on Tuesday, and that, of course, is today. The Browns want to hire George Patton as their new GM, but Andrew Perry of the Eagles, who's our vice president of football operations, is a candidate for the Browns GM position as well. The Panthers want the Browns GM candidate Andrew Perry too. A leak source told Cleveland.com. But we'll have to give him final say over the roster to get the interview. Now, I don't know if Patton's a good idea. I think he'd be a good GM, but he possibly would be. But I think Andrew Perry would too, and he's I think a much better choice, and that's who I would go with, Andrew Perry. Now, Barry and Vikings assistant general manager George Patton will interview for the Browns GM job this week. Patton spent 12 years with Stefanski in Minnesota, where the Vikings made 6 postseason appearances since 2008, and they beat the New Orleans Saints in the wild card game this first weekend in January. And there's one more. The former head coach and Rams defensive coordinator, Wade Phillips, has been discussed as a possible defensive coordinator for the Browns. Wade Phillips has been in the NFL since 1976, and he has been with 11 franchises. He could possibly be a good candidate, as he will probably be interviewed by Stefanski and Haslam. So we'll see what happens with that this week. We had quite a weekend of football with action with the NFL divisional playoff games on Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, the San Francisco 49ers beat the Minnesota Vikings 27-10 at Levi's Stadium in San Francisco, California, to advance to the NFC Championship game for the first time since 1995 in 25 years. The 49ers really looked good in this game. Jimmy Garoppolo was outstanding. Tevin Coleman had an amazing day, scoring 2 49er touchdowns, and 105 yards rushing. Now, the Vikings came into this game and just got manhandled by the 49ers, offense and defense. The Vikings just made too many mistakes and had too many interceptions and too many turnover on downs, and that's why this game did not go their way, and why their season has come to an end. But for the 49ers, they move on to the NFC Championship game this next Sunday. And I got to give out some game balls. Jimmy Garoppolo, 11 of 19 carries and attempts, 131 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Tevin Coleman, 22 yards, 22 carries, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And Raheem Mostert, 12 carries, 58 yards, and no touchdowns, no interceptions. So that was really a heck of a game. It was really just a blowout game. We'll get to the others in just a sec, but right now it's time to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 NFL football trivia question. This team in 1983 made it to the playoffs for the first time in franchise history, but Kurt Warner rushed for over 200 yards in a game, and quarterback Dave Craig had 400 yards passing also. Which team is this? If you said the Seattle Seahawks, you are correct. The Seattle Seahawks finished 9-7 in 1983 with Chuck Knox at the helm in his first season. The Seahawks made it to the playoffs in his first season. The Seahawks made it into the conference championship, but lost to the Raiders. Seattle improved to 12-4 in 1984. And I will have another trivia question on my next podcast, so stay tuned for that. Now, getting back to the divisional playoff games, The Tennessee Titans beat the 14-2 Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, to advance to the AFC Championship game for the second time in their franchise history. The Ravens played the way they played when they lost to the Browns in the fourth week of the season. The Ravens were held to just 2 field goals and 1 touchdown, and the Ravens just fell apart in this game and just got whooped by the Tennessee Titans, and who are 9-7. And Lamar Jackson struggled big time, and he just could not get past Ryan Tannehill in this game, and they were just they got blown out. That's the only way to put it. And so I got to give the game balls to Ryan Tannehill, 7-14 carries and attempts, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Derrick Henry, 1 carry, 1 yard, for 1 carries and attempts, 30 yards receiving, rushing 3 yards receiving, 195 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and 2 receptions, 7 yards receiving. Khalif Raymond, 1 carry, 45 yards, 1 reception, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. And we'll get to and on Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs came back after being down 24-0 in the second quarter and beat the Houston Texans 51-31 at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Houston was down 24-0 in the second quarter, and their lead just slipped away from the rest of the second quarter as the Chiefs came rip-roaring back and scored a total of 51 points from the second quarter on. And the Chiefs are headed to the AFC Championship game for the second time in their franchise history. And the Chiefs won Super Bowl IV 50 years ago this past Saturday. And I got to give the game ball to Patrick Mahomes II. 23 of 35 carries and attempts, 225 yards, 321 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Boy, what a game. 7 carries and 53 yards rushing. Travis Kelce, 10 receptions, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns. Sammy Watkins, 2 carries, 76 yards, 2 and no touchdowns, no interceptions. Damian Williams, 47 yards, 12 carries, 47 yards, and no touchdowns, and 12 yards, 12 receptions, 21 yards receiving. And that means the AFC Championship game is set. The Tennessee Titans will battle the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, with the winning team earning a trip and the right to be in Super Bowl 54 at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. And lastly, the other one on Sunday, the Green Bay Packers beat the Seattle Seahawks 28-23 at legendary Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Packers took an early 7-0 lead and never let up in this game. The Seahawks were down 21-3 at halftime. The Seahawks hung in there and came back, but were down 28-23 in the fourth quarter and scored a touchdown, but they missed a 2-point conversion that got blocked and intercepted by the Packers. And the Packers are going to the NFC Championship game for the first time since 2012. And game balls, Aaron Rodgers, 16-27 carries and attempts, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, no receptions, 5 receptions, and 14 yards rushing. Aaron Jones, 21 carries, 62 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 reception, 1 reception, 4 yards. Receiving, Dante Adams, 8 receptions, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The NFC Championship game is set. The Green Bay Packers will head to San Francisco to battle a tough San Francisco 49ers team this Sunday, and the winner earns a trip to Miami to play in Super Bowl 54. And we had the National Championship game tonight that took place at Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, and after a slow start against the Clemson Tigers, the LSU Tigers zoomed all the way back and beat, after being down 17-7 in the early goings of the fourth quarter, to become the national champions, 42-25 over Clemson. That's going to wrap it up. 3, 2, 1. I'm